Good afternoon and welcome to the Balance of Life. I am your host, Angel Ferguson, and we thank you so very much for joining us during this Saturday edition of Book Reviews, Interviews, and Connections. It is always an honor and a pleasure to come and to just spend some time with you. And there are countless ways in which we can stay connected via our website, www.afergusonswrp.simplesite.com. Via the website, you have the opportunity to check out ministry and mentoring programs that we offer here at the School of Ministry, Hope and Truth Magazine, the company WTI Productions as a whole, book reviews, the online bookstore that we are actually currently revamping, and we're just going through a entire restructuring as it is time. It is definitely time. You can also email us. Our email address is afergusonwrp@yahoo.com. You can connect with us via social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus. Our radio broadcast also airs via iHeartRadio, iTunes. It also links to our social media sites, so there are countless ways in which you can tune into the Balance of Life. We'd love to hear from you. Send us over an email if there is a book that you would like us to discuss. Send us over an email, and you can also send over prayer request. The Balance of Life is an extension of our ministry, and we just love to hear from you. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Balance of Life. Today, during book reviews, interviews, and connections, we are going to take a look at Roadmap to Self-Publishing. Today, we're going to, within that book, The Roadmap of Self-Publishing, we are actually going to take a look at the components of a book. And when we first published this book, I want to say in 2014, we provided information on our experience at that point. And so right now, what we are going to do is we are in the process of doing a revision to the book, because there is so much to learn and so much to gain. And as a publisher, I find that sometimes when we ask a author for material, that the understanding of what we're asking for is not comprehended. And I do believe in educating along the way clients and those who would like to step into the role of self-publishing. There is room for everyone. And so when we have someone that says, I would like to self-publish, we have no problem with teaching you the process. That is also one of the courses that we offer within the ministry, is the writer's launch, teaching you and helping, guiding you in that area of writing. It will also help in, if once you come into the ministry and you write out your sermons or what God gives you, and that is the purpose of adding that curriculum to our ministry within the School of Ministry and Mentoring. And once a course is completed, then we provide you with a certificate of completion, as we have now received our recognition from the state of Florida as a religious institution. Some of the areas that we just really want to cover and enlighten individuals on: when you request from your author things such as a foreword, a biography, knowing the difference between a memoir and an autobiography, or even your bio, I think it's so important. It helps with the streamlining of the process, and it also assists that self-publisher so that your book has all the components that it needs. And we're also going to take a look at when, what I like to call when a page is too heavy. And when I say when a page is too heavy, it is when there is so much material, so much content on one page, the other pages are left void, and there is really no substance for the other pages. And so what happens is, when I read a book, when I find that, I flip through pages to get to the core, when in fact we should spread that meat, the content throughout the book. Don't put it all on one page. Don't make your pages heavy. And so we're going to look at just different components of a book, so that while you are in your current writing project, or thinking about embarking on writing projects, or even going into your next, there are some questions, and the internet is full of directions. We just have to take the time to find out what it is we're putting together. And so when we return, we're going to just start taking a look at things such as the foreword, your biography, knowing what to put. And some information we have is just, it really should be used for a memoir. And so we're going to share that information with you. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to The Balance of Life. I am your host, Angel Ferguson, and today on book reviews, interviews, and connections, we are taking a look at the book Roadmap to Self-Publishing, and we are talking about the components of a book. And let me start by saying this: the manuscript is a portion of your book. There are other components that are needed for the book that enhance the book, such as your foreword or either your preface, and we will distinguish the two. The foreword is someone that knows you in character as a writer, in your expertise and in your field, and they have had an opportunity to just read the book, and they really provide a selling point for the book. And so as you read the foreword of individuals, and it is good if you can get someone within your field. It's good within a professional field to get to write your foreword for you. It draws us in because we want to see what they saw. Your preface. Your preface is giving a description of what's in the book. It doesn't tell us the entire book, but it gives us just a little snippet and a taste of what's in the book, what the book is about. I believe those are two very, very important components of a book, and each book should have them. Another area that is very important, and we are talking about the components of a book, is your acknowledgments. Write your acknowledgments. Your bio. Your biography is not your memoir. And it should include just a little bit of a background about you. For me, I am a mother, I am a grandmother, I am an entrepreneur. You know, if you want to list out your works that you have done, put that in the front of the book or even in the back of the book, and you would list that as works by. Your memoir is really talking about where you were born and where you grew up and different stages of your life. I believe that is too heavy if it's just going to be your bio in a book. And so if you want to share that about yourself, then I suggest that you write a memoir. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to The Balance of Life. I am your host, Angel Ferguson, and we thank you so very much for joining us today during the Saturday edition of The Balance of Life. We are talking about the book, The Roadmap to Self-Publishing. Just so much that we all should understand when it comes to writing a book. It's more than about putting together a manuscript. There are components to the book. And what we have found within just our experience as a publisher is we can ask our clients for information such as your foreword, your biography, and those terms are not understood. And so I think it's very important that when we make these requests, that we start giving a description of what we are looking for. It helps with the process. It helps with going back and forth with the client, because what we have found is some have included within their bio their autobiography or even a memoir. And there is a difference. And where it goes in the book makes a huge difference as well. We are also going to make mention about the roadmap to self-publishing actually has tips on growing your audience long before the book is published. I think it's so important. So many have come to the conclusion that my book is now published and everybody wants it. Well, If no one knows about your journey as a writer and there's no introduction prior to the product, there is no anticipation. And so it is important that you grow your audience before the work is released. Grow your audience. Give them anticipation that you are writing a book. Give them snippets. Allow them to be a part of your journey so that they are ready for the book. What happens is we write the book and we expect for it to blow up overnight when only ones who really know about your book and the writing of your book is your friends and family that you have mentioned it to. And the reality is friends and family, they support is verbal. During the process with friends and family, they're excited with you when you first mention that you're writing a book. Some will be in disbelief. And as you continue to mention it, some will wander away from you mentioning it because that's all you talk about. And then when you have the release of the book, few will purchase, many will expect a free copy. A part of our motto is transparency, and we don't sugarcoat that at all. We don't try to sugarcoat that for you at all. And so what happens is we have to learn to grow our audience outside of friends and family. That is the importance of growing your audience before the product is released. And so what we teach within the Roadmap to Self-Publishing is how to start and work in a blog. And do not invite friends and family to read your blog. Grow outside of your audience, grow outside of your family, grow outside of your friends. Create a blog, work in your blog, set yourself a schedule, even if it's once a month, that you write in your blog. Give snippets of your journey, things that you've learned along the course of writing, and take writing courses. Grow from your writing. And so what you're doing is you are establishing your presence beyond friends and family. Other components of a book go beyond the written material and what goes in the book, such as the front cover and the back cover, the foreword, the preface, listing out your works, more projects to come. It's the preparation process. There is a lot to go into it versus saying, voila, my book is finished, here I am, buy me. And I know that, it might seem as if a light joke, but a lot of people have this mentality, and there is so much more that goes into the process of a book than others even imagine. Taking a look at the autobiography, and we'll talk about that when we return. And we are back during this Saturday edition of Book Reviews, Interviews, and Connections. We're looking at the book, The Roadmap to Self-Publishing. And we are currently in the works of revising this book. The book was released in 2014. And what prompted the publishing of this book is I had so many questions, and not everyone was free to share information. And I knew, a few authors. They told me Uh, they gave me some terms, but they didn't tell me what the terms meant or the process. And so what we did is we took our experience, our journey as a self-publisher, and we turned it into a teaching tool. Now the revised copy will add additional information such as the components of the book. So we want to take you beyond writing the manuscript, and we want to help sharpen your knowledge as far as the components of a book, because a lot is being missed. And we do believe in educating you along the way. And so we're going to look at what is an autobiography. An autobiography is a description of your life's history. This is not to be confused with your biography for the book. The bio, you don't want to put too much in it, because when you begin to put too much in it, then you're stepping over into autobiography and your memoirs. Your memoirs are recollection of your childhood and bringing up and experiences. And that should not go on the back of the book. Let me add that this material, the material that goes on the back of the book is testimonials of quotes that you receive from others, where you have allowed them to read the book and where the book has inspired them, or things of that nature. That is the purpose also of your blogs, because as you are in your writing journey and you give just hints of what's in the book or a certain section and you get feedback, that is what you can use as your testimonials for the back of the book. If you do not have testimonials, there are certain quotes and phrases within the book that you have written. Put that detail on the back of the book. Your photo goes on the back of the book. Contact information if you are, say, a motivational speaker and you take engagements. The publisher's logo, the barcode, things of that nature go on the back of the book, not your biography. Your biography should go in the it can go in the back flap of the book. One of the last pages in the back of the book is where your biography wants to go. And then again, like I said, you don't want it too heavy. Your upbringing and things of that nature, that is not what that is for. When you go into more details about your life, like I said, you're going into autobiography, you're going into memoir. Your biography could mention that you studied at this particular college, you received your master's degree in sociology, an acclaimed writer, that things of that nature you want to add there. But when you start going into details about your upbringing and things that you've endured and suffered, that's on another take. And then if your book is not a memoir or an autobiography, you definitely don't want to add that kind of content to a book where it's in self-help, motivational. If it is a short story, fiction, nonfiction, all depends on what the type of book is. The genre, I should say, is the information that you provide for yourself. And so just understanding the components of a book is so very, very important when you are writing. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Balance of Life. I am your host, Angel Ferguson. We thank you so very much for joining us today. And I'd like to episodes of uh, the Balance of Life via their TV guide. And you can also look at our website under Ministry and Mentoring. And for each episode that we air, we do go in and we include that on the website so you can view there as well. Over the past few weeks, we have been in the process of just building that library. So we did some live broadcasting back to back to build that library to give us some cushion, if you will. As you know, Monday through Friday, you can listen here at the Balance of Life, 12:30 p.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. and every Saturday at 3 o'clock to 3:30 p.m., where we discuss book reviews, interviews, and connections. The magazine itself is going through a transformation which kicked off for the month of June. So if you would like to view Hope and Truth Magazine's June issue, please go over to issue.com and you can preview the magazine in its entirety. 12 issues are at $36. You can place your order via our website, www.afergusonswrp.simplesite.com. We're just going through some awesome changes, and we're taking them one at a time. As mentioned earlier during the week, we are also in the process of setting up a conference line. We have the conference line set up. We are just setting our schedule so that we can have our prayer requests and interaction with you, where you can call in with your prayer request and your testimonials. We will provide you with those details starting on next week as we tighten up our schedule and just get into a position that God would have us to be in. That is what we are doing. And so as we are shaping up, a lot of things have to be trimmed. And so that is the process that we are doing now. We will continue on next Saturday the components of a book as we dig deeper into the roadmap to self-publishing. And if you would like additional information, please feel free to email us at afergusonwrp@yahoo.com.